Cool, and we are live. Thank you everyone for coming to the ComCon meeting for August 8th, 2019. Adam is currently away, so he's flying from one coast to the other. So Joe and I are gonna be helping out run this for today. I'm gonna begin to run through the agenda and get over everything. Before we start, does anyone have anything they'd like to specifically address that is outside of the agenda or outside of normally scheduled kind of programming? No? Cool. So to start things off, let's go ahead and do a initiative report. Does anyone from the initiatives have anything to share?
Yeah, I can start. Can you hear me?
Cool. Yep. Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us? I'll take that as a no. Hold on, I am. So I'll take that as a no. Does someone else want to? I just muted Ahmad just because he's in the background. I will unmute him. Hopefully that helps. No? Okay. So does anyone else have anything to report?
I have, OpenJS CPC stuff I can report if we're on to that yet.
Yes. Yeah, you can go ahead.
All right, cool. We have our meetings every week. We alternate, it's Tuesday every week, alternating between 1600 and 1800 UTC. We've been trying to get a lot done as we work through this on a weekly basis. One of the big areas of focus at the moment is the project onboarding, project progression, bringing new projects into the fleshing out the process to bring new projects into the foundation. And we're working on that by using two of the existing foundation projects, Mocha and Architect. And things are progressing well. We've developed a good checklist. There are a couple of things that we're kind of waiting on at the moment from Foundation, including some guidance on CLA stuff and license guidance, things like that. There is, let's see, what else did I say? Oh, a template for project charters coming in that was pulled from the node.js and Kubernetes. So a bunch of work going on there. I want to draw attention to issue number 268. I'll drop it in the chat here. This is an issue that is raised in the node.js admin repo that is regarding the governance and management of the travel fund. So we are working on bringing this under the CPC's guidance management. And but doing so in a way that respects the historical Node.js aspects there, and making sure that that's not diminished in any way, that we kind of expand and don't diminish any Node.js use of the travel fund. So it is going through our staging proposal process. We are on stage 2 now. So we've still got a couple stages to go. Once I think it's the stage 3, it goes to the board. So now is a really good time to take a look at that and make comments, get involved. Generally, I wanted to make sure that people are aware of this process happening. I think that's all I got from the CPC side.
Cool. Just a quick note: if everyone could add themselves to the agenda present list, that would be awesome. Just because I realized I didn't call that out earlier. And also, if other people want to help with minutes, please feel welcome to. Cool. Ahmad, do you want to try again?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, although you're a lot quieter now.
Okay, is this better?
Kind of. I turned my volume up, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Okay, cool. There you go.
Cool. Yeah, so just wanted to give a quick mentorship update. So we've started the second cohort, and we're currently matching mentors with mentees. We already shortlisted the mentees for each mentor and contacted all the mentors and mentees. But we still have to match 3 more mentors with their mentees. Hopefully this will be done within the next 10 days. And yeah, so we've started, and we're gonna start planning for the next cohort during this cohort. So more updates to come soon.
Awesome.
That's all.
Cool. Any other initiative updates that we have? Cool.
Can I just ask, I just want to ask really quickly, there was a Node.js end user feedback meeting last Friday. I wasn't able to attend. I was wondering if anyone else was or has any, thing to report back from that.
This is Tracy. I attended. It was really, we were having some Zoom issues. So Dan, Sean, Aqua, Nasri, we just all caught up really quickly because it's been quite a while since we had that meeting. No official updates, but need to figure out, I'll ping them again. The Zoom issue was a blocker. So we kind of canceled the actual meeting. So, but I'll follow up an email right now and CC you and just make sure those things are taken care of.
Great. I'll add one thing or a question or just something to raise real quickly. It's been mentioned, and I think it's a good idea to perhaps bring the user feedback initiative to the CPC and try to expand that to be able to be taken advantage of from any of the foundation projects. So if there are no objections, and maybe I should raise an issue in the user feedback repo about this, I can create an issue in the CPC for us to start talking about that.
Yeah, sounds great. I'm going to follow up with an email right now as well,
Okay.
Jeff.
Great, thank you.
Cool. It doesn't look like we have Manil or Adam on for website redesign. Just want to take a look real quick at others. Ben is not here for internationalization. I should probably be removed from Champion for Node.js collection. I have not been super involved with that. I'm happy to try to get more involved, but I know that other people have been more involved, like Waleed, who just joined. So maybe that's something we'd want to consider. I know Ahmad is not here for outreach, and Dan is not here for user feedback, but we just covered that. And it seems like that is the extent of things. So awesome. Cool. I think we can move on to the agenda then. Let's see here. So first agenda item, tracking issue for CPC. I think this is the one you just talked about, Joe, 395, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I would definitely recommend people take a look at that. If you have time, please take a look at it. Outside of that.
To be clear, sorry, Tierney, that issue that's in the agenda is a recurring issue for me to give CPC updates. The issue for the travel fund, I posted it. It is 398.
Okay, awesome.
Right?
Do you mind if I just drop that in that issue, the tracking issue?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Cool. So that's done. So yeah, also I advise checking out 398 in that case. Cool. Moving on. Anything anyone has on that specific issue? Any questions, comments, concerns? Cool. Moving on, Node.js Community Committee. Hold on, I need to make sure I am documenting that. I just have to also take minutes here. If we could get someone to help with that, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'll try to help too.
Cool. Next item on the agenda is towards less conflicts from biases and assumptions in communication styles and conventions. This is one that it was brought up last time. I believe this is brought up by Saleh. I hope I pronounced that right. Who is on the call. Do you want to kind of talk about this?
Yeah, so I think it's just broadly, very recently or in recent years, accessibility has been a very, very hot topic, you know. But we also have to recognize that some of accessibility is not just about font size. It's not just about contrast and all these things, but rather if in a communication medium, people are getting enough access to be able to be party to that communication taking place. There are a lot of UX issues that make it hard even with some accessibility features on for people to interact on GitHub. And with people trying to collaborate in open source projects like through node.js, a lot of the problems that someone can encounter can go unrecognized, but they definitely result in a person not being able to be part of the flow. So there are certain aspects of communication that are on the person who is trying to communicate, but there are other aspects that are not assumed. Just because they work well for everyone else, then it's on that one person to try to catch up or to try to fill in the void. So the long-term hope is to actually start working towards finding ways to accommodate different paces, accommodate different styles. But the more immediate one is certain advice, like taking a, we tell people if you find that you're in an argument, you can just, step away. How you go about stepping away can mean very different things. So it's just maybe a long-term thing, and making short-term goals that we can work towards to try to improve the experience of people. Some of whom will find it hard to even raise that they're struggling with that.
Okay, cool. And I know this is kind of doing what you're asserting, and I apologize. Is there like anything that you would advise that we could actually, any kind of action we could take immediately, or anything we could work on immediately as a part of this?
I think a year ago I was, trying that, and I realized that no, I need to observe for a year. I need to learn as much as I can, so I can be a partner in an effort, with my own insights. I don't share insights for others, but for certain people, I would have insights. I think my hope is that Node.js would be a, like a place for this kind of initiative to start. It becomes, something that other people can try to actually, like an initiative that other organizations would take on too, and but that would not be just an outcome that would affect me, but rather it's a longer term one. But I really hope that this will be something that you can't really make one little change that will positively impact people significantly at this point. You have to actually look at the problem, understand the problem. So starting an initiative here, it would be the only immediate thing that would matter, really.
Okay. I would suggest in that case that you go ahead and create an issue and propose that it be moved to an initiative in the next, like an issue defining what that initiative would look like. Did I say initiative? An issue that defines what that initiative, God, those words are similar, would look like. So we can kind of, rubber stamp LGTM and then enable you to kind of move forward with that.
So could I ask a question here? And I'm hoping others, if anyone would like to volunteer to, like for me, it's this is new, and the initiative itself is hard to explain. And myself, I find it very, very hard to explain things to begin with. So being able to bounce this off if somebody's interested, if people want, and if they have mutual interest in an initiative, that can maybe frame it in a way that is easier to communicate. So if anyone would want to collaborate on that issue, that would be really helpful. It would make it easier for others to also get the message. So I'm just leaving that out there. Thanks.
Do any ComCom members have availability to do that?
Oh, well, actually that depends on when you like to start. So if it's something between week, like next Thursday, I'll be available to help him out, sketch the initiative.
Awesome. So, sorry, go ahead, Joe.
I was going to say I might be able to help somewhat asynchronously, but maybe I can ask like a clarifying question. I'm trying to help take notes here, and I have immediate issue is, and then I didn't exactly understand what, how I can capture what the immediate issue is. And I think you said that phrase immediate issue is, and then I was trying to listen and understand.
So maybe what I was trying to say is that there's no immediate change that we can make, on a particular communication aspect, but rather that we actually need to come up with an initiative to tackle a problem that is a lot bigger than just one issue. You see what I mean?
Well, what is that one problem? Like, how would you kind of define that one problem? I see in your issue, it's towards less conflict from biases, assumptions, and communication styles and conventions. But one thing you mentioned almost sounded to me like mental health within open source community involvement or something. I'm not sure. I'm trying to capture it here in the notes.
So for me personally, I have ASD. So, this is something that manifests in something like ADHD. Sometimes, at times it's hard to keep the same pace of a conversation. And then by the time you're catching up, when in things that are a little bit too contentious, like modules, for instance, that's the group I was in for a year and, tried very hard to find good strategies. It ends up becoming, futile to try. And that seemed to be like, just because the norm of communication that, aligned well with everyone else, you almost had to remind people that, okay, can we do this when we talk? And then, a lot more complexities come into play where, you hear people, trying to be polite, but also starting to dismiss you because you're not catching up. And so, I'm not here to complain, and I'm not giving the whole, the full picture. But there are two sides to every story. Complaining doesn't really, give you the opportunity that, you could have helped. And you've, been party to a lot of discussions that played out in ways that you wanted to push for. So at the end of the day, things happened in spite of me not being able to communicate. But my experience as wanting to be a collaborator has been that I honestly don't find a space to collaborate. I'm unable to affect the change that happens, but that change being to my wishes was, maybe because I was on the right track, So although I didn't force it myself, but people, when they talked, eventually they went in the same direction that someone wanted to be part of that collaboration to reach. I'm sure that GitHub has a lot of UX improvements, you know, to eventually introduce things that go very subtle to most people, but can really affect communication for people who don't have the same rhythm or, you know, are not able to respond at the same speed. These are all things that go beyond just setting the right accessibility settings in your browser. They are part of the making the conversations more balanced, so that you know, if somebody's catching up, people don't find it awkward to have to explain themselves, or don't find themselves forced to only type. You know, so it's hard to say that one thing could have made it easier through the year. I did the year because I wanted to see where the limits are. Can I even break through? And I couldn't really.
So maybe it's like how to make different working groups or community related projects within Node more accessible to everybody, and creating some sort of standards or processes around that, or at least starting to have conversations around it.
Yeah, definitely. You know, a different medium as well. Things being just typed can sometimes result in overload for someone who tries to read and you know, struggles with reading. So just it's hard to say there's a solution on the table. There's one issue that we can change that makes, you know, this the first step. It has to be commitment to more steps.
Yeah. So is it, I don't know, you know, Tierney and everyone else, maybe you guys can provide more guidance, but maybe it's starting off with an issue and kind of listing out these different things in bullet points so we can start digesting it and starting to take actions on it, or thinking about different things that we can do to make this a possibility.
Yeah,
because I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of opinions around this as well.
definitely. And just the one recommendation, fun thing we could do is we can say every time you use emojis only, you pay, you know, a tax.
Yeah, I think there's so many amazing suggestions about how to make the participation within the OpenJS Foundation more accessible. And I don't know, speaking for myself, I really appreciate it. But does that help capture it, Joe, maybe? Or
I think so. You know, it seems like it is kind of a broad issue that may be multifaceted, that, you know, something that we would work through as an initiative. In terms of just capturing it in the notes, and I hope that I don't diminish it, because this is a large initiative, don't diminish it in any way, but I said not immediate change that we can make, but rather develop an initiative around improving communications that are more accessible. It seems like it may be more than communications, but that's where I landed.
That's actually perfect, I believe, personally. Okay. Yeah.
And I believe also, Saleh, you have access. But I believe you also have access to the notes file that Tierney posted in the chat. So feel free to go and, you know, edit that and provide more stuff around that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of information in the issue description as well, which I included in the notes, that I think I even underlined it because I think that there's a lot there too.
Yeah, sorry, I rambled a lot there.
No, that's perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, that said, I think we can begin to go on to the next issue, unless anyone has any additional comments, feedback, thoughts on that specific one. Cool. Awesome. So next item in the agenda is removing labels and archived repos. I can give a quick update on this. I can actually close this because it was completed. I worked with Michael Dawson last week to do this. So now I have cleared out both issues or good first issues on evangelism, and it looked like someone had already done it on website redesign, but I tried to clear out there as much as possible too, specifically for the meeting agenda and good first issue. So now good first issue in our org should be a little bit more accessible. I also additionally, I didn't want to close all issues in website redesign just because that wasn't really part of my purview. Since I was previously the champion for evangelism and have no additional context that any of those needed to remain open, I force closed all of the issues in that repo, just so if people search for open issues that have XYZ label and one happens to be in evangelism, it will not come up, since open issue search is the default. So I just wanted to share that, a quick update on that as well. I will go ahead and close and comment that, and we should be able to actually move on. I should probably remove the label from that as well, just because I don't know if CC agenda will remain on if the issue is closed. Cool. So cool. Good minutes there. Charter update to reflect new OpenJS Foundation. I believe I agreed with Adam to work on this a bit ago, and we just have not been able to sync, unfortunately. That said, the charter, I always get confused between charter and the other document.
Charter and governance?
Yes. I never remember which one is the one that we actually need approval for.
Yeah, charter's board approval. Governance, there's more restrictions, but not board approval. I think it needs to be open for 2 weeks or quorum within the meeting.
Is that also board approval?
Like
at this point, is it? No, but is charter board approval at this point?
Yes, charter. Okay.
Oh, I don't think it is.
No. I guess the CPC's charter is board approval, but probably not. I think it would need project charters will need CPC approval.
That said, I do believe any changes here may actually need board approval, since it would remove the assertion of board approval to CPC approval. So I think this may be the final one that needs board approval. It's going to be a thing. But that is something we need to do. If anyone wants to help tackle kind of this stuff, you're more than welcome to open PRs. I don't expect that from anyone, but it would be really awesome if you would be willing to help with that.
I will try. I can try to help. I don't have a lot of free time, but it's important, and I'm there. Yeah. I'll just take a quick moment too, Tierney, to point out in the group, Adam created a project board that is for OpenJS governance, work. Not that we need to go through it right now, but I just wanted to highlight that for folks.
I was not aware of that. That's awesome. Cool. Now I'm thinking about automating project boards for agendas, because that would be a little bit cleaner actually than how we do it. Sorry. Cool. So definitely also take a look at that as well. Cool. And I believe I'm just gonna write no update. Cool. Next item is Node.js social media community collaboration. Rachel, do you want to take this?
Sure. So we are very, very, very close to getting this thing across the line. I just have 2 questions, 2 more areas, I guess, for just for feedback. So one, there was a Google form that we had set up that basically collected information for folks who were interested in for becoming a social media delegate. That form now does not work, and so I created a new form. And I did reply on, I replied, I think, to the alias email for ComCom members to kind of provide some feedback. I'm happy to put that form in, in GitHub as well. But essentially just want to ensure that we are collecting the appropriate information for folks interested in becoming delegates. So as we are going through the information that is submitted, that we have the right information to make good decisions around who these delegates would be. So that's one. The second thing would be, do we need a home on GitHub for this program? I know that we have, a node.js collection. I think it's a repo. So I'm not sure if this needs the same type of setup, but just looking for guidance from this group as far as, how we kind of point folks back to, information and if they've got questions and things like that. If they need to ask a question, stuff like that. So that's kind of where that's kind of, open for discussion for the social media delegate program.
So I guess one question that I would have about this is, are we going to, because I know the ComCom is relatively involved in this, are we going to make this like an official initiative? And I think that answering that question would also answer your question about a GitHub repo, because if we are, the answer is yes, we need a GitHub repo. That's just how we kind of track work, and that's how we kind of manage people in that way. That said, yeah, I think that'll be an interesting question, because I'm not sure where we draw the line. Like, I think there's kind of precedent already with Node.js collection, and I think that's enough precedent to say yes, that we can make this an initiative. I'm not opposed to it at all, and I'd love to hear from others if anyone else has thoughts on that. Seems like people are unopinionated. Cool. So in that case, anyone have an opinion?
Can we just rename the Node.js collection repo to Node.js social media? So
so this is good. This would be a different initiative. Node.js collection is a very separate thing from the work we're doing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So clarifying question really quickly, and for the notes, the two areas of feedback you mentioned, Rachel, is you wanted to point out the Google form issue and then the general question should this be an initiative?
Yeah, so I would say that feedback on the Google form would be one, and then where does this program live on GitHub? And then Tierney kind of brings up the point, does this become an initiative, an official initiative? So yeah, I think you've captured that accurately.
So I would definitely, I'd probably try to create a new issue for the form, just to get feedback on that and set a deadline basically for us to review. You're more than welcome to do that. I'd like to have it by this date, and that day can be 3 days from now. Well, technically you'd probably want to do it on, I guess technically you can do it 3 days from now. You'd probably want to have it end on Monday, or it could be, a week from now, it could be a year from now. It doesn't really matter. I doubt you want to set it for a year from now, though.
No.
So yeah, you can go ahead. If you could do that, that would be awesome.
Got it. Yep.
And then outside of that, I think we're pretty good. I don't think there will be much of an issue making it an initiative. The one thing we would want to figure out with that is how we bring people in. So the people who are elected the chair, or the delegates, would effectively, we would want to have them as admins of that repo, which is an additional responsibility that we will want to kind of outline.
Okay.
So we probably want to figure that out before we ship the blog posts and ship the program, rather than after.
Yeah, and there would be some champion for the initiative.
Yeah, so that's also an interesting question of, are the chairs the champions? And I don't think they would be. I'd be happy to help champion this because it's something I care about. Like, I guess a chair could be a champion, but it would need to be disconnected from like the requirement for the champions of that is not explicitly the people who are the delegates. God, there's so many words. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I am happy to champion that one.
Okay.
It's something I have fought for a very long time.
Okay.
Cool.
And I'll be happy to take over the Node.js collection. So
yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for that.
Yeah, of course. Okay, cool. Any other comments, feedback, requests, anything on this specific issue? Questions? Okay, cool. With that, I think we can move on. I'm just closing all the 100 GitHub tabs I have open. Cool. I just want to document here, Joe, that I raised my hand to share or to whatever, champion.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. Next thing is Node.js collection next steps. I don't know if this is an issue that I guess I'll look before I. Does this need to be on the agenda still, or
yeah, there's a PR open to update the README with the process. Rachel added the new process, but we need to review it and then merge it.
Okay, cool. So that is an action item. I'm just adding myself as a reviewer because I can take some time to review that. Okay. But that is an action item for that. Anyone in the ComCom who is interested, please help out with that, and please take a review.
Can I just as you're reviewing that, what would be helpful is take it from the perspective of either somebody in the reviewer seat or somebody who's submitting, and if there's any just like blind spots or anything that just doesn't feel completely connected and just like a full process, just raise that. I think that'll be just super helpful. As I was editing, I really tried to just kind of erase the fact that like I've just been looking at this for quite some time, and you know how it is. Fresh eyes is just super important for stuff like this. And so if there's anything at all that you feel like this would just be helpful for folks to understand the process, or if there's something that we just didn't address that needs to be addressed, please just raise that up. And I think that would just be super duper helpful. And then number two, I just wanted to give a shout out to Waleed for just really being so on the ball with this and just super great partner in helping me understand so many different things. So thank you. I just kind of wanted to publicly say thank you.
It's okay, no problem. You're welcome. Yeah.
Cool. With that, we've hit the end of our agenda. Does anyone have anything else they would like to add?
Yeah, I would like to discuss this one other issue in ComCom. It's what did I just close it? 510 issue 510. I will drop it. Maybe we can invite invite them in our next meeting for taking for the meeting notes. I think they are helping in mentorship program already, and they opened this issue in the ComCom that they can provide some help for meeting notes.
Yeah, I won't say no to that, as we are like struggling to take meeting. Joe and I keep like flipping back and forth. Yes.
Okay. So yeah.
I will comment on that now.
Yeah, thanks.
We will never say no to that.
Yeah.
So, cool. With that, anything else? Okay. I think we can wrap up the stream for today. Thanks everyone for joining on the stream. ComCom members, if you could stick around, if you could stick around, that would be stellar, just for a minute. Thanks everyone, gonna end the stream.